Hey everyone, I thought I would give you guys a little tour of the Buckbeak puppet and how it was thrown together really quickly with what materials and whatnot. So, I started with just the head, and it's literally just a block of L200 smashed together, these puzzle pieces here. One moment. Just these, you know, they're not that expensive here, but I know online in the States they can be, but it just thick foam layered together, carved and sanded and stuff. And then I hollowed out the inside to get the eye mechanism in there. The eyes were made separately, and then I put some sort of internal wire in there to squish them onto wires. I use that internal rigging to pull them against and stuff and whatnot. The beak is a wire running through it, and it hinges. Again, it's all just like wires stuck into foam with hot glue and epoxy and stuff like that. It's really MacGyvered together and just made up as I went. So it originally had a spine that I made out of foam, the L200 foam, and elastic and nylon webbing. But the idea was that it would be on my body like that, and it would bear some weight. But in the end, it just got in the way. Didn't quite work out because I didn't make measurements exact, and I honestly sliced it off halfway through the performance, and I'm like, you know what? The neck is glued down to the body. That's my limit and stuff. I'm just gonna have to work with it. So let's take a look at some of the movements of the head. Let me remove the wings. Ooh. And everything's kind of thrown together really quickly, especially the wings. So the hooves has some wear and tear, but that's fine. As you can see, this hoof is not attached to the body since it would just be peeking out or not even be seen technically. The furs are really thrown together because, again, most of it's covered by the wings, so it doesn't have to be perfect. It just, whatever is seen has to kind of look natural. And it was really dim setting, so it didn't matter. You have to excuse the banging, that's the wind. Let me move this right there. So, here we go. The arms. I get in and out through the neck, and the shoulders are kind of just loose, and I adjust them as I get in, and I kind of sit on the flat of the neck. So, in the head, it's kind of built like a real bird head where the skull's kind of got a round bit, and then you've got the top part. It's all one piece. And then I haul it out for the mechanism. So in this round bit, I've got a copper pipe, just because I had copper, running through here, and I bent it. And then I've got some of the internal stuff running through there. So like the mouth runs through that pipe and is lifted up, and elastic pulls it open. So that's how the mouth works. It's really nothing super fancy. The beak's just covered into fabric, which I airbrush and painted. The insides, I just painted black, which it's already black. And the tongue is just yoga mat foam, sanded smooth, painted, and then covered in E6000 or Shugu, depending on what country you're in. They're exactly the same thing. So that's the mouth, and the eyes. The bottom eyelids are on a pull trigger, which it's just how it worked out. So, and I have the eyelids like that. The bottom moved together and the top moved together, so that way I can get some different expressions. Let me find the top one. There we go. It's sort of, sometimes they like to get crossed. So it's crossed against. There we go. The mouth wire. So that's the top. That one's sort of just a pull down because I have more clearance, because these ones have to come up over a wire to pull down in order to, they have to pull up in order to pull down. They do move faster once they're lubed up. They like to get caught up sometimes. But, so the idea is I'd pull the trigger first, and then the top one. So that's how like birds blink and stuff like that. Now the pulleys aren't very comfortable, so I just quickly shoved together some thick leather and electric tape to wrap my fingers in, because this was really put together last minute. But he worked good, and people love the performance. So I'd hold the rod with 2 hands, and I kind of use the mouth with one hand and the eyes with another. You can get some pretty good expressions with that. You can just have them slightly open or something like that. So for the rest of it, it's just your average shag style fake fur. I just quickly shaved feather looking chunks into it. His head feathers are paper with like a hot glue shaft on the inside, because when you paint paper it likes to curl up and do weird crap. It could use twice as many feathers, but again, I was running out of time. So now the body will collapse unless I'm in it, but when I'm in it, it's got a better shape. It's just a bunch of ribs, a spine, and again, very squishy, lightweight. The pelvis has this big circle of L200. It needs another one to keep its shape. So during the performance, it kept collapsing. I shoved one of the prop buckets up in his butt to keep his pelvis where it's supposed to be. So that was interesting. Move on to the hooves. Where did I put this other leg? Ah, fell down. So his limbs are that foam again. I did 2 layers and then just upholstery foam. So that's like his bones, his meat, whatever. And that goes up to here. You know, you shape it, yada yada. As for this is the puzzle mats again, but with the textured side on the inside. It's a little choppy, close up. You can see some issues, but again, this was made like the very last day before the performance. And it's a few pieces shaped together and carved with a knife. It was kind of interesting. I felt like a fairy while I was carving in the frog and stuff. Yeah, just small details. Yeah, it's rushed, but I feel like it's pretty cool. And yeah, just pattern it with duct tape, make the fur, sew it together real quick. Had a hand sew part of it shut because clearly you make the fur sleeve wouldn't fit. Painted a bit of detail here and there, some dirt. Try to make the hooves look a little dirty, but heck, I could just dip it in some mud and it'd be good. This one's the same. The leg, the whole thigh is kind of just the upholstery foam. And then from here down, you get the bones, the L200 bones. And I just made upholstery foam muscles, and it didn't have to look super good. It just had to be the suggestion of the muscle because the fur would cover it. And again, this was really quick and stuff like that. The arms, the shoulders are just one sheet of upholstery foam because I'd be in there with like my legs crossed, so they'd puff it out and kind of fill it out. Give me your arm. So the idea is that in the performance, he had a hurt arm so that he can't get up and fly, and the kids can't, ride him. So he's laying down the whole time, which is great from a puppeteering standpoint because then you don't have to have someone in the back doing legs and stuff. It's just a whole face performance. You can move the body to kind of make him look like he's breathing and stuff. So the arms are pure L200, layer after layer. You can even see the individual layers if you look carefully. But again, this was really rushed. If I had time, I'd give it a skin, make them a little bigger, but it worked for what it was. So yeah, you can feel that this is squishy, but solid. And, again, it was quickly patterned in fur. This part was flocked because apparently he's got some fuzzy arms. And I was like, oh crap. It was like the last 2 hours before finishing this guy. Before midnight on the day before. And I was like, he's got fuzzy arms. And then just everything was pretty much primed with quick drying house paint because that's all I had. And it was great because it was quick drying. And then it was detailed with whatever the heck paints I had lying around. Acrylics, model paints, anything was fair game. The claws are just raw L200 foam. They're really nasty and quick, but, you know, people were like 10 feet away at the closest. The kids got up close. Again, it was very dimly lit. I think it was fine. And then I kind of added a suggestion of scales with some furniture sealant. You can kind of see a shine here and there. Did some dotting. You know, I just tried to make it, gave him some dirt. Quick and nasty. Try to make it as good as possible. The other arm is pretty much the same. So that's, oh, and then the tail. Let's see. The tail is a upholstery foam that goes all the way down to here, you know, like a nice, like a real horse tail. And then I, piece by piece, or clump by clump, wefted the hair into, well, I covered the bit of foam in this long gray fur. And then I, chunk by chunk, wefted real horse hair into that. And that's like $100 US worth of horsehair on his butt. But luckily you could actually see it from how we positioned him. So I was really happy I actually went that extra step to do that. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the body. It's just foam for whatever I had lying around, paint-wise, wire. Now for the wings, it's literally just cardboard and paper. See, the inside is just, this piece is flappy. This other wing is the more showpiece. It's better. Look, but it's still pretty quickly thrown together. Painted white the inside, whatever was going to show. Because it was going to barely show. So, yeah, it was really quickly pieced together. Gave it kind of a bulge on the arm bits. The primaries have layers. That one doesn't. The secondaries don't have layers. They're just painted to look like feathers. And again, in the dimly lit light, it picks it up a lot better. Yeah, this is quickly painted, but we covered him in a blanket, so that's why I didn't finish that, because of time, budget, and the original plan was for a blanket. So this would be thrown over his withers and then taped at the base. About there. It's a lot heavier than it looks once I'm in it. His wings are quite heavy. This leg would be poking out. This leg would be poking out. It's better once, you know, it's all in there and stuff. But yeah, then it wasn't this blanket, but there was a blanket thrown over him, kind of like that. Just lazily thrown over, like, oh, it's cold outside, he's hurt. Oh no, I didn't finish this in time. But that's the Buckbeak puppet. And yeah, you pretty much have to be, 5'3" is pushing it, but smaller the better. So to get in him, yeah, you crawl on the neck like you're working under a car. And your position, you find something comfortable with your legs crossed or folded or to the side, but pretty much you're hunched down and you're like this. So it's a hell of a position to be in, but you're only in there for about, I don't know. I think the most I was in there was 30 minutes at a time, because it was hard getting the timing of breaks in between the performance, but there was a good sizable break in between. And once like people came in, you stopped like noticing how uncomfortable you were and you just got into the character. But yeah, no, as soon as the performance is over, someone would relieve me. But sometimes they were taking their sweet time. I'm like, can I come out? Should I even be talking? But, you know, came out and I just stretched out for as long as I could until it was time to get back in. And I was like, all right, adjust my wings and stuff. So, yeah, that's Beaky. My favorite part has to be, like, the eyes and, like, this leg. This is my favorite part. And the tail turned out pretty good, too. So, yeah. I hope you enjoyed that little show of Buckbeak, and I'll try to find some footage of the performance to share with that. But there you go, guys. Have a good one.